Hey guys, welcome to WAPS. We have not been on here for a while
It's been
now.
since when did we go to McRaven?
Gosh, I don't know. Let me look it up real quick. I was just like, we haven't posted anything in
Yeah,
a
it's been
while.
months. So,
Bear with us because um, we've had a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff. Not just, paranormal stuff. It's just been stuff that
kids, soccer,
yeah,
surgery,
surgery, soccer, kids, adventures, school, work,
just life in general.
just life. I'm trying to see when we last posted something. See, okay, so we went live September 23rd.
So was it October we went to McRaven?
It was September.
It was September.
Yeah, I think September or early October, maybe early October, because we put out the McRaven House in September 22nd
Okay.
of last year. So it's been a hot minute since we've
Yeah,
been
because
on
it's
air.
already May.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, we've been we haven't been on any like ghost hunts really since McRaven, and I will have to say it's not necessarily that McRaven disappointed us.
It just wasn't a whole lot of activity like we kind of had hoped for.
Yeah, and the thing is with, the paranormal and stuff like that is you can have people in and out throughout the day and energy get taken and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. And then when you go to try to investigate, that activity can be very, very, very small or none to all. There was a point, though, where me and my brother went out into like the courtyard area.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
And it's like September, October. I can't actually remember when we went. But that was really weird because nothing blooms really, like flower wise.
But you could smell it.
You could smell flowers in the little courtyard area I was in. And I actually brought him over and was like, hey, do you smell this? Like, this is what I'm smelling. I didn't tell him exactly what I was smelling yet. I just wanted to see if he could smell the same thing that I was smelling.
I thought it was interesting because it seemed like it was just me and you.
Yes. But I think John came up behind us afterwards and he said that he could smell the floral scent too.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I think that's what happened. But I could be wrong. I could be crazy because it has been like, a little, 6 months or so?
Something like that.
Yeah. That was a thing. I think you had a little bit of an experience in one of the rooms, though.
When I got touched.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
got touched.
Was it Andrew Glass's room?
I think so.
Didn't the ladies say they wondered if he liked both men and women?
Yes.
And I was like, sorry, Mr. Glass. Dead's not really my type.
Yeah. So he got a little thing there. It was just really weird how like the house was set up because it went through like 3 different decades or whatever, I believe.
Yeah, like 3 different time periods, something
Yeah.
like that.
So like it was hard for us to kind of maneuver into whatever room we wanted to go in because it was a tight space, but it was enough where like if you went into the next room and I went into the room across.
Yeah, the hallways were kind of narrow.
Yeah, like that I could, hear you.
Yeah, and everything creaked.
And everything, yeah, because it was just an old house, which we're not saying that we wouldn't go back to McRaven, but we would say that we would like to do it when there was probably not any tours that day, which I don't know if they do that or not.
Not sure. I think it would be better too if we could actually go lights out.
Yes, because that's the thing. Like, usually when we do something like this, it's like lights out for anything. And we had lights on for like everything. It was a different kind of a thing, and your senses get heightened and you feel different things when those lights are off.
Yeah, I could see that. It's like, I don't know, something about the dark and then subtle energies and stuff seem to be, I can't think of the word or how to word it. It's more like a very low illumination, I guess.
Yeah, it heightens your fear and what you think you're going to see, because you're thinking in your mind, okay, I'm in the dark. What if somebody answers me? What if somebody touches me? Just things like that, because then you really can't see it.
Right.
But when you have the lights on, it's like, okay, kind of brush it off. Like, oh, well, that must have just been something else.
Yeah.
As when you're in the dark, it's a little bit scarier.
Senses heightened.
Yeah. That was our thing with the McRaven House, which the people there were really, really nice. We did a tour before to kind of brush up on the history. It was kind of like what we told y'all in the last podcast and everything.
There wasn't really anything that we hadn't already heard, was
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
I can't remember anything.
definitely not. We went because Sam and Colby did an episode on it. And we went into one room where they said like this mirror, like it was like almost like a vanity mirror thing.
Oh, where the door would open?
And the door would open. But I think we debunked that ourselves, because if you would walk in a certain way, that door would swing open. It wasn't necessarily a ghost.
I mean, that's
or a
not to say
spirit.
it doesn't ever happen. It's just, it does also happen when you step in that certain spot.
Right, right. There was no, like, okay, so when we went to the dining area, there had also been a thing when Sam and Colby had said, like, a candlestick flew off or something, I believe.
I think so.
And, of course that didn't happen either. There was not much activity in the dining room at all. It was just more in the rooms, I would say.
Yeah.
And outside on the property for sure, because we kept on hearing stuff outside. Whether it was dogs or something else, we don't know.
And there was also other like houses and stuff.
Yeah.
Just outside the property line.
Yeah.
I mean, but it was still kind of interesting because it's like when you got into the gate of the property and everything, it felt like you were in a secluded place.
It did. But like your next house was like, I don't want to say like 0.25 miles away or whatever, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, it was pretty close. I mean, you could see it beyond the trees.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You could definitely see the lights from the house. But there was one time that we had looked in a certain spot, and there was like almost like a flash of ball of light, I think. I think John's the one that said this.
Yeah, weren't we looking through the, what was it called? Infrared camera or something?
Wasn't the...
Or not infrared, thermal.
Yeah, I think we were looking through the thermal camera with that, and he had saw something move. So that could have been like, an animal or whatnot.
Yeah.
But we don't know for sure. So, because we didn't capture anywhere else with that.
Then we didn't really get a whole lot outside, but it did feel weird.
It did. Especially because, okay, guys, they had the bathrooms outside. And it's not an outhouse thing. It was like an out washroom, I would say, because you had a functioning toilet, you had a functioning sink, there was electricity that ran outside. They put a heater in there, so when you investigate on the cold days, you could use the bathroom and there would be a heater in there. But that little just space was so weird. Like, when I had to go to the bathroom, I wanted to use the bathroom and get the heck out of there. It was really bad. So I was like, and I had to go twice, I think, that night.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I think that's like all I have to say about the McRaven House. I will say we did run into a bunch of us, like my husband, my brother, his husband, and actually his kid. We all sit down and we watched this show that was called Destination Fear, that came out from the channel or whatever. And they kind of got like knocked off the Discovery Channel or whatever. And went and started their own thing on YouTube. And now they're called Project Fear. And I'm probably the biggest fan out of the whole family.
Yeah, I would say so. How many hoodies do you have now?
Let's see. I got my Rockstar hoodie. I got the lavender hoodie, and I got another hoodie, and then I got the joggers. And I have some photos signed by them. I think that might be it. And, which is really bad because I was looking at some of the merchandise the other day again.
Really?
Yeah, because they had put out some. They had like a mint like hoodie shirt.
Yeah.
It was like they had a baseball tee and then they had a hoodie shirt that was like a limited edition thing that they've brought back like maybe twice.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it, but like I was like, I don't really want to spend like $50 something again to buy that. And then I was looking at the black joggers because they would go with my hoodies. So I was like, ooh. But then I was like,
It'd be a good outfit if you ever go to a paranormal convention.
maybe if it was like up north and it was cold. But you know, it is what it is. So, but we ran into a fellow fan there while we were there.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
'Cause
forgot.
I had
about
my
that.
ghosty necklace on, which is another thing I have from them, but I don't wear it anymore because it kind of broke. Little thing that holds the ghost kind of
Little ring.
Yeah, but we met this cool girl. I think she was from Texas, I believe.
I want to say it was Texas. I think that's what she said.
I think she said Texas. So she was from Texas and she had a Project Fear shirt on. And it was probably one of the older ones because it was fairly new when Project Fear came out when we started doing this stuff. And I was like, oh, you're a Project Fear fan. And then, we all giddied over, Project Fear and all that stuff. But it was cool to meet somebody else that actually knew who they were. Because, like, we walk around in this town, and I might have my Project Fear hoodie on, and not one person has said anything to me about it.
I don't know that you really find very many people like that are into that stuff out here.
Yeah, I don't know. There kind of is, but there's kind of not. I think they say that they want to be. I just don't think a lot of people, they want to be interested in it, but they aren't as much as what we are. They don't want to put all their time and stuff like we are into it.
I mean, because it's very time consuming and it can be an expensive
it is
thing
an
to get
expensive
into.
hobby, everything. So it's kind of hard to have somebody else around here do the same things that we do.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that does the same things that we do.
I
Besides
did,
Dawn.
but that was years ago, and I don't think that he does that sort of thing anymore. I know he has a little girl now, and he was actually a practicing medium, but I want to say that he stopped because he didn't want anything to mess with his child. I mean, I get that. It's understandable.
Yeah.
Because he had ran into so many negative things.
Yeah, that's why it's, so important for people to, cleanse their self or their space or whatever after whatnot,
Yeah, that's why I started making my own Florida water, so.
Yeah, Marcus has been working on some other things when he can. He hasn't really had a lot of time to do what he wants to do. Neither have I either, but it's just what family is, how things are.
Yeah, I haven't figured out how to balance everything yet.
Yeah, and I think that's everybody. A lot of people don't know how to do balance between their work life, children, and doing things that they want to do, especially finding yourself as a person, because we lose ourselves a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Which we were talking about today, me and Marcus were.
Because at a certain point, it's like, I mean, yeah, of course you're still an individual, but when you're so focused on everything and everything else around you, it feels like that you lose that individuality.
Yeah, most definitely. And other people that do this that don't have a actual like family with kids yet, or super lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Because I say that, but we're super lucky too because we have these great children and we love them so dearly, even though we think one of them probably a demon or some crap. I'm just totally joking, but not really. Uh, I don't mean it in the sense of way I really think she's a demon. It's just the funny way of just like saying she's terrible sometimes,
Sometimes definitely terrible.
but definitely with them being able to still have their individuality and go and do the things that they like to do and spend their money on what they want to spend it on.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it with, us. Me having 2 kids, you having 2 kids.
Right. It's hard to come up with the funds to be able to, either buy the equipment or book the place.
Yeah. And a lot of the time, it's just not even that. It's like, kids are expensive.
Yeah.
Like my oldest, she's 15 now, just had her birthday, and she plays soccer. So, like, soccer is ridiculous expensive. Even though you think you just, like, get a ball and 2 uniforms and socks and cleats and stuff like that, like, it's still freaking expensive.
Right.
And especially, she's not playing rec ball, she's playing high school. So, like, when you get into high school, we were looking at the punt. I think the page fund.
Sorry, I don't know what the noise was.
Probably the kids.
Probably.
The page funds the other day, and I think for the whole year for just some of the varsity and the junior varsity for soccer, I think they were calculating like $38,000 for them just to
That's Chewy's feet you hear.
just to be able to have some of the stuff that we are, but we're gonna have to pay out of pocket like $475. Then they want to add a different uniform into the thing while keeping the old uniforms, so that's another $150.
Good Lord.
And then you gotta think if they need cleats again for the new season, if their feet have grown, a good pair of cleats run you at least $100. But right now, like with your son, his feet are still growing. My daughter's feet aren't growing. So it's pretty much, okay, if your cleats aren't, if they don't have any holes in them or anything like that, you're playing in those fucking cleats.
Yeah, as long as his cleats still fit, they'll be the ones that he uses this coming soccer season.
Yeah. So have a lot to sit here and think about. But anyway, since we haven't done anything, let me just update you on some stuff since we haven't talked in a while. Our last post was like September 22nd.
Good Lord, it's been that long.
It has been that long. So I know that we promised y'all some McRaven stuff. Thing is, with McRaven, I think a lot of our audio files were actually corrupted from our...
Oh, yeah, that's what Matt said, isn't it?
Yeah. Audio files were corrupted from my husband's recorders that he has. So he got some. I bought him 2 new ones for his birthday, which was in February. And so we really don't have any evidence from McRaven at all now.
I have my recordings, but I haven't actually sat and listened to them to even know if there's anything on them.
Yeah.
Like I have the audio files actually saved here on a computer somewhere, but just sitting there to listen to them, not happened.
Yeah, definitely not. We've had a lot of stuff going on. We've had sickness, death, kid, like we all said. There's been so much stuff going on in the past couple months. In soccer and all these things that happen, which is life, and sometimes life sucks.
Yeah, I can agree with that fully.
Yeah, and then sometimes we go through a depression phase. I don't know about all y'all, but I know that me and my brother do have those phases, and um, not to be any sappy and shit, like I say. Um, if any of you guys feel depressed or any suicidal thoughts or anything, please reach out to our page because I will get a notification and I will talk to you. Um, or just reach out to somebody because we don't want to lose, like, y'all are our family. Y'all listen to us. Y'all tune in. And, y'all are supposed to be family to us. So if you or somebody has an issue and you feel like you need to talk to someone, we are always around. Um, it might not always be the best way. Like, you can't call us or whatever
Right.
because that'd be a little bit weird. But, like, send us a message through WAPS or whatever on Facebook, and we'll definitely get back at you because I keep switching back and forth through WAPS and my home page, what I call my regular page, here. So I just want y'all to know that we are here for you guys. We're not always the best to give insight, but we're always here to listen.
And there's also the suicide hotline. I want to say they even have an option to where you can text it now. It's like a 3-digit number, I want to say. You can just Google suicide hotline and find it fairly easily.
I'm actually doing it right now for y'all, because it's very, very, very important. Um, if you are over in the United States, you can call 988. That's the suicide and crisis lifeline. You can also text 988.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they started doing that as a feature of it.
Yeah, and you can also, I'm looking on Google right now, they have a chat, so you can chat with them, and all you have to do is press that chat button, and you can just talk to them. They have a website, so you can find somebody, and this is available 24 hours a day. They do speak English and Spanish, so it doesn't matter, if you speak either one of those, somebody can talk to you. Also, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, for services to talk to a skilled counselor. That number is 1-800-273-TALK, which is 8255. If you prefer, you can go online and chat with the counselor online at the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. They offer that service. So, just make sure that you are doing anything that you can to kind of get some help because sometimes you just need somebody to talk to.
And with it being like, us with paranormal stuff and everything too, it's also a very important thing that if you're actually going to be diving into that stuff, to be in a good place mentally,
Yes.
because it can wind up bad.
Yes. It's not only like you don't know what you're susceptible to
Right.
when you go into something. Your feelings change, a place can change you. Um, I feel like everybody has a little sensitivity in them, whether we know it or not. We had it as kids. We lost it in the long run. Some people didn't. Some people are still working on waking themselves up again. So, when you do stuff like that, um, please, please think about how your headspace is going to be before you do something. Because if you're rather depressed before you go, they are going to feed off of that. And if there's any negative energy around you, they will feed into it and probably make it worse for you. So, that's very important for us.
And there's a lot of theories about things being more able or more easily able to attach themselves when you're at that state, because it's like you're weakened. You're not at your strongest mentally, or I guess spiritually also.
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons it's really important to be in a good headspace. And like, I've read stuff about seances saying that if anybody is depressed or anything, that they do not need to be a part of it. Like, I haven't had the opportunity myself to be part of a seance yet, but you know.
Yeah, I haven't done a seance, but I have done the Ouija board, and that was an experience in itself. Um, just because, like I was telling you earlier, I was I was a horrible teenager. Horrible. Not horrible in the sense of like I was just bad. It was just like I was into everything. Like I wanted to know anything, everything. I wanted to do everything.
Have all the
I
experiences.
have all the experiences. So that's kind of like who I was as a teenager and into my early uh, adulthood was that person. So, me and my best friend, Elena, which her husband does a lot of ghost hunting too, and they have a little YouTube page that's set up for them too. Baby Wolf, I think it's called Alabama's Most Haunted. If it's not, I'm sorry, Sean, if you're listening to this. Um, but yeah, they do a lot of stuff. But me, my friend Elena, and then we actually had a guy that was from Amsterdam or something, the Netherlands, something like that. He was an exchange student that came over, and
That
we
had to
were,
be interesting.
yeah, we were all in my room, and something scared us, and I can't quite remember because it's like I blocked that part out
Yeah.
of that experience, but I know that I don't want to use the board again. Like for me, and it was just like one of those play boards. Now maybe like later on when I
Mm-hmm.
feel a little bit better about it, and maybe if I can get through that blockage in my mind to figure out what went wrong,
Yeah.
you know. Um, but I really do think that it was because we definitely turned off the lights in my room and we were sitting there. And, moms and dads and grandparents don't let you have the door closed with a guy.
No,
But
they don't.
I had Elena. So it was like, okay, we can do this. So we had the door closed. Well, the door is closed, but I had a mirror behind my door when I was younger.
Oh, we were talking about mirrors and doors and all that other stuff the other
So,
day.
like, after I did that, I remember, um, I remember getting through with the board, and then, I don't know what happened to the board. I don't know where it is.
Who did the board belong to?
Me.
Oh, it was yours?
It was mine. Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was my board. And it was just like one of those ones that like
Like the Parker Brothers board?
yeah, or Hasbro or whoever made it.
Yeah.
It's like one of those play boards. It
You
wasn't
get a
like
Books A Million or Target or whatever.
yeah, it was like one of those. Nothing like you got.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was definitely one of those, and I don't know exactly what happened to it. Just a lot, like a lot of my other things that I don't know what happened to it. Like I had a dagger, don't know what happened to it, and it had the Grim Reaper on it. I had a Nazi knife that was given to me by another, I wouldn't call him a witch. He was more of a necromancer. That's what he studied.
Oh, that was like his specialty?
That was his specialty. Turns out he has Asperger's, stuff like that. That's, I guess, what he liked. He liked the whole setup of the daggers, the knives, the Nazi stuff. It was just a whole range of things. But he was very much into necromancy, and there was one time that in the necromancy, I know I get off subject a lot, guys. This is my ADHD, and I'm sorry. But I remember one of the times we were over at my ex-boyfriend's house, and it was actually across the street over here where we live, in that other
in the other
neighborhood.
subdivision.
Yeah. So in the other subdivision, and we were playing around with just like kind of balling energy, trying
Yeah.
to, make it and see it and kind of like push it out,
Yeah.
push it back in, kind of make it bigger and smaller. Just trying to
Like really basic energy work.
basic energy work. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like 15 or 16 and my thing
Yeah.
was like this big and I'm like, oh, let's try to like smash it down a little bit. Anyway, after I think there was 4, maybe 5 people that were included in this. Myself, my ex-boyfriend, the necromancer. I want to say there was one other friend of my ex-boyfriend's that was there that was kind of doing the energy thing with us. Well, after everybody had left, me and my ex, we were sitting in his room. And sometimes we would sit in the dark. I have no idea why. We were weird kids.
Ain't
But
throwing with the dark.
we would sit in the dark or had a little bitty ass TV. And I was not used to it because, like, I came and I had a 32-inch and it was like he had, like, this little 24-inch. And I'm like, okay. And we would watch movies and stuff on it. But sometimes we would turn it off or it would go off because we'd fall asleep or whatever. Well, there was this one time, it was completely dark at his house. And, I mean, it's dark. How do you see a shadow in the dark?
It's darker than the dark.
It's darker than the dark, exactly.
I've seen stuff like that.
So, the weird thing is it never came down. It never swooped down.
Yeah.
But he had a mirror. This is why I do not like mirrors. He had a mirror in his room.
Too many bad experiences with mirrors.
I mean, I just don't think, no offense to anybody else that, like, practices any witchcraft or any necromancy or anything like that. I just don't think, unless you're doing something with a mirror that is called for a mirror, that you should have a mirror in that space. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Because we saw things in that mirror.
No, I'd be cleansing that thing and locking it.
And I mean, we were like 15, 16 at the time. We didn't know all this,
Yeah.
We're just like basic crazy heads. That's the only way that I can explain it. Because we're trying to get into it and we're trying to learn all these things. And like, I don't know, it just started when I was young.
I follow you.
And like, it would literally, we would be laying down. He had a futon at bed, which is horrible, by the way. If y'all have a futon for your bed, get you a real bed, guys.
Yeah,
Come
they're
on.
not comfortable.
They're
not comfortable at all. I had one for a bed when I was younger.
Don't understand. I mean, I get that you can convert it into a thing, but they make couches with pull-out mattresses. So
Yeah.
get you a good mattress for the pull-out couch.
Better than the futon.
Exactly. So, the thing is like, it would be like, I know y'all can't see me, but he can see me. It was like just all over the ceiling. Like, it was a big shadow, and it was like a ghostly like shadow.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It really didn't have any body.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of like
a blob
that had arms stuff, and it would be like up on the ceiling, and it'd just be moving. Well, I think there was 2, and it scared us so much that we hid underneath the covers at one point. And we were sitting there, and we were just like, what do we do? What do we do? And then we finally like dart out the room because we're that scared. And like, you would see stuff in the mirror.
Yeah.
And the mirror was like right there, where the bed was, because it'd be like, okay, bed's against the wall, and then the mirror is against the other wall across from it. So like, I mean, whatever you did, you could see it. So it was just like an awful experience to me, like seeing that when you're younger and you don't know what you did. Like, I didn't even, like, I tried to study the necromancy, but I was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I always thought it was evil because of what you hear when you're younger and what people try to tell you.
Especially living in the Bible Belt.
Yeah. and like what people try to tell you, and it's not necessarily all bad.
No, not at all.
But it is a different thing, and it's not personally something that I feel like I want to do.
Yeah.
But like if I needed to for a particular reason, like if somebody in here was hurt by something, or
Yeah, like there's a book I want to get. It's Necromancy from a Demonologist's perspective that I want to say it's S. Connolly. She's got so many books on demonolatry, but I want to say the name of the book is called Drawing Down Belial. That's on my list to get eventually because
isn't
like
that
death work and stuff something I want to get into.
that demon that they had in their house the other night?
That was Ball.
Oh, that was Ball.
Yeah.
Like
There's a lot of them that
names,
have similar names, yes.
it's just like it throws me off. Like, okay, so like my brother's in a whole different aspect of what he does versus of what I done.
Yeah, my religion is demonolatry. So it kind of influences a lot of the things that I do want to do, like with witchcraft and stuff. So it's going to have a little bit more of a, for lack of a better way to put it, because I know some people freak out, the demonic touch to it. But I don't believe demons are like the way a lot of people believe that they are. So
They're not all bad.
no, they're neutral.
Yeah, I think maybe they're just like an entity that came here and was given this name because they're from hell, right? And we assume everybody that is from hell is a demon. And
a lot of them actually were pagan gods and goddesses that were
yeah.
literally demonized.
So, like, okay, so that's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, like, what if people are bringing these negative energies into wherever they are, and that is why people think that they're so bad.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it past one of them like to metaphorically bitch slap you if you needed it. So
Yeah.
yeah. I think a lot of the way that you approach them has a lot of how they are going to be towards you.
Yeah.
Like with any other deity.
Right.
Or being, I mean, unless it's just something that's pure chaos,
Right. Right. Yeah. And like with me, I'm more of just like, okay, I'll do my stuff whenever I want to, or here's a spell every now and then, or something like that. It's not that I'm not so much into it. It's just like you are. Like, you don't have that time.
Yeah.
Or when you do have the time, you want to rest.
Right. It's like I said, it goes back to that whole balance thing. It's hard to figure out how to do the balance. It would just be like the same thing if I was still a practicing Christian trying to figure out how to balance the time to
go to
church, pray on a daily basis, all that stuff. I mean, it's the same kind of concept.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of us, when stuff happens to us that we necessarily don't want to happen, or we're losing something or whatever, we're sitting there and we're praying.
Yeah.
But we're not necessarily praying to
the God of the Bible.
The God of the Bible. We're praying to whoever's freaking listening at that point.
Right.
I feel
whether
like
your ancestors or
right,
whatever deities you worship or whatever.
Exactly. So
or just the universe in general.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, okay, maybe there's something that we could do or whatever. But I feel like that's where a lot of people get a lot of things mixed up. Is when we pray, they think that we're praying always to a certain being, and we're not necessarily always praying to somebody. We're praying to someone who is listening, whether that be our ancestor, the one that we pick, that is our special, god or goddess or whatever.
Yeah,
but
matron.
Yeah, but I feel like we do a little bit of everything for every god and goddess that we go in through. You know what I'm saying? Because they do different things. So we need those different things. So sometimes you pray to those different ones.
It's kind of like the whole Catholic concept of saint. Like,
Like Saint Christopher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I can't think of any others. Even though technically she was a goddess before she was seen as a saint, Bridget, actually.
I didn't even know there was a female one.
Yes, there are female saints. Yep,
See,
there are female
that,
saints.
that like that just baffles me because I mean, like all I can think of is when I see, or not when I see, when I hear Catholic and Catholicism. Even though my grandmother was raised at a Catholic school, because she's from England, and that's pretty much what. Like when I think of that, I just think of nuns. Anyway, on another note. Yeah, I didn't think that because I always think of nuns. I think like they're the saint, the female saints. That's just, I guess, how I perceived it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like it seems like almost anybody can be a nun now. Like,
Yeah, I'm not sure how that process works. I never really looked into it.
well, the thing is like I looked into nunnery, and yes, you can, if you give yourself to God and what their God, not what we perceive as God. But if you give yourself to God, even though you had children and you don't want any more children and you're not married and you don't plan on getting married and you devote yourself to God, you can be a nun. You can still have children, be a nun. It's just kind of have to go through, hey, I have this. But they only get certain times they can write,
Oh.
call, and go away for, certain periods of times to go see their children and stuff like that. So
Interesting.
it is interesting. Just like the Mormon that messages me on
Yeah.
Facebook. And
Oh.
gosh. Y'all, I really love to fuck with people. I really do. And my brother knows it. And he's all for it. He's like, okay, go for it.
It's free entertainment for me, so.
I had this Mormon message me on Facebook and asked if he could share a scripture with me. And I told him no because we do not believe in the same thing. And he asked me about the King James Version of the Bible. And I was like,
one of the worst translations.
I was like, no, I don't believe in that. I'm more of like, I believe in what the earth has to give me. And he was like, cool, what religion does that follow under? And I'm like, witchcraft. I mean, because it does. Like, that kind of goes with like pagan too. And,
yeah.
There's a lot of things that have to deal with the earth, not just.
I mean, a lot of people don't really look at it like that, but demonolatry really is too, because, I mean,
you're using herbs.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and some of the demons are looked at as elementals.
Yeah, and you have to go outside.
Yep.
I mean, you could do it inside, but I feel like it's better to do it outside because it's just like you're putting it out into the universe.
Yeah, I mean,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I really enjoy doing the rites outside. It's just the only thing I do not like is the fact that the incense doesn't really fill the space because you're not in an enclosed space, so it doesn't really create the atmosphere that I would like. You can't help that. And besides,
really
there's not
can't.
anywhere in here that I could set up a full circle and altar.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he always said that you could use the attic, but the attic.
I would be afraid to do that in there.
I mean, just with all that like stuff that's in there. What is it called? Insulation.
Exactly why I'd be afraid to do that in there.
That's why I would be scared to do it. But,
I mean, candle gets knocked over and
you're kind of like, poof. Oh, shit. Yeah, I definitely understand. But, it was pretty funny because he was like, what have you heard about us? And I was like, I heard that y'all have multiple. Yeah, Mormon. I heard that y'all had multiple wives and, you make girls wear certain clothing. And he's like, that is not at all true. And I was like, okay. And he was like, what else have you heard? And I was like, I heard that you go around on bikes. And he was like, we are allowed to drive cars now.
Oh, they didn't used to be allowed to drive cars?
No, they had a bike everywhere.
That's crazy.
That was like one of the things for the people that are, trying to I don't know exactly what a Mormon does. Like, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if.
I don't know much about their beliefs or their practices.
No. So if you're Mormon and you want to have a conversation with us about it, we will do our best not to try to fuck with you. But we really do want to know. Like, I'm going to ask you some questions, and don't be offended because that's just who I am, and I'm going to ask you stupid fucking questions.
I love learning about different religions. In fact, like, that's on my reading list is the Book of Mormon and the Quran, however you pronounce it. But to me, it's a fascinating subject. It's like, why do people believe what they believe? What about this does it for you, if that makes sense?
Yeah, most definitely. Like, to me, it's like another spin off of a Mormon night or whatever it's called. A Mennonite. Isn't that what it's called? Like the Amish and then a Mennonite.
Yeah.
And I feel like a Mormon is like a spin off of a Mennonite. Even though they're not like driving cars and stuff, they still dress a certain way and they still dress funny.
They still dress funny.
I feel like they dress funny because like they're all like, oh, let me be proper. Let me have my tie and my white shirt and my slacks for the guys. And the women are wearing, skirts or dresses, and they have the long hair that they really don't cut.
Oh, wow.
Stuff like that. It
reminds me a bit of the holiness people.
Maybe it is. Like, maybe it's part of it, but they're part of the Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
So, I don't know much about that.
Me either.
It's just like, what is a Seventh-day Adventist? Do you know what that is?
No, I don't. I have heard the name and everything, but I don't know.
So I went to a church when I was younger with one of my best friends because that's what her mom went to church.
Yeah.
But it was a Seventh-day Adventist church. The only time that, and we went on Saturdays. It was not a Sunday thing because Sunday is a day of rest to them. So what I gathered from this is, okay, we'd only use electricity in the morning to take our showers or whatever before we went to church. And then after that, we weren't allowed to use electricity. Like, we used the car to get there, and they would have electricity at the church and stuff.
Yeah.
But when you came back home, it was, okay, we're not having any lights on until dark.
Sounds like a financial choice.
It really wasn't because, like, on Sundays, their power was ran all day. Through the week, it was ran all day. It was just Saturday when they went to that church. It was a different experience. I will say that. So,
interesting.
But me, I went to several different churches growing up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't by choice. I had a rough past. So, I went to Presbyterian churches. I went to Baptist churches. I went to Methodist churches. I don't want to say I've been to a Catholic church yet. That's something I have not done. But one day I feel like I really want to walk into one. And I think you know why.
Maybe.
We will talk about this off the podcast because I don't want to put...
I think I know where you're going now.
Yeah. I want to know why the whole Catholicism thing. So I think I'll make an appearance in a Catholic church soon just to... It's not to hurt anybody. It's not to do anything to anybody. And it's not to mess with anybody's feelings. It's strictly...
Find some kind of understanding.
Trying to find out why. Just why. Why would somebody gravitate to this?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I got it.
But I know that there could be somebody possibly that would listen to this podcast and tell somebody else and them think that I'm trying to
yeah.
mess with stuff. And that's totally not it. But that would be one reason why I would go. And it necessarily doesn't have to mean that I'm going to her church.
Yeah.
Or whatever they want to call it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I haven't been to a Catholic church, but I've been to a lot of different churches.
Been to a few.
Weird. A lot of them. I haven't been to anything that's been like, blah, 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 I'm going to speak in tongues
I
and,
have.
and carry snakes around.
I haven't done that.
You look sad about that one.
No, I'm actually thankful for that one because if you get bit, yeah, no. Mm-mm.
You know, I used to own a snake.
Do what?
I used to own a snake.
Yeah, I would love to have a pet snake, though.
But you still have chances of being bit, Marcus.
But the pet snake is not venomous.
This is true, but we don't know if they're using non-venomous or venomous.
Oh, they use rattlesnakes.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, they'll use things like rattlesnakes.
No, thank you. You can keep that.
Exactly
Put it back in
my
its tub.
point. Yep.
Put it back in its tub.
I've seen a couple of videos and documentaries. I still do not understand it. I don't get it. I'm like, if that's how you find fulfillment, fine, but I don't want a part of that.
Right. And we're not dissing on any of your religions, if this
No.
is any of what you're talking about. This is just our personal opinion and preference of.
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, it's no judgment on anybody because everybody's got to have something, like I said, that they can find fulfillment in, something that gives them a purpose and all that stuff.
And,
so.
I think that helps too with people with addiction. I know that's a whole other off-topic thing.
Yeah.
But when you're in recovery, they try to turn you to God. They don't care what kind of God or whatever you do.
Yeah.
It's just, you're going to pray, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, but whatever program you're in, you're probably going to do whatever they're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they get so almost addicted into this culture of that.
Oh.
Do you get what I'm saying? So they're like always trying to speak the word to somebody else. Like, I've been through recovery, I've been through the addiction, and God's helped me, and God's done this, and God. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I've met a couple of people that were very similar to that.
Yeah, and they're doing that to cover up the other, addiction that they had. So they're taking that addiction away, and they're putting
filling the addiction
with another addiction. With another addiction is what I would say, because I smoke cigarettes, right? So, and then I started vaping. I've cut back on my cigarettes, but guess what? It's still nicotine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing. This is actually probably worse than the actual cigarette itself because it goes through a filter and stuff. And this is going through vape water, and God knows I don't know how it's built. I know how a cigarette is built. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it tries to filter out some of that other negative stuff that's in there. But, like, it's just, I'm replacing a habit with almost the same habit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not fully quitting the habit. And who's to say that this might later on, because you can get these in like zero nicotine things.
Mm-hmm.
So who's to say later on that I don't get a zero nicotine one and just have it just to have it? People say that, oh yeah, I quit smoking, but I vape. Okay, but are you vaping because you have the no nicotine one?
Yeah.
Or are you vaping because you think it's better for you and you can get away with it in a lot of other different places than you can smoking a cigarette, and it's not smelling bad, and they don't have anything on regulations of smoking against in the car with your kids with vaping. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, I'm replacing it. But, like, it's just like when people, like, drink alcohol. So they drink their alcohol, right? And they're going through the recovery process. And let's say they don't drink water. They drink Coke. So it's like my Coke addiction.
Yeah.
But not cocaine. Let's just tell everybody that, because I drink Coca-Cola a lot. And And for you people that are up north, no, I do not call everything Coke. When I ask for a Coke, I am
Want a
meaning
literal Coke.
I am meaning a literal Coke. If you tell me you have Pepsi, I will say that's fine. But I am meaning like a real Coke. If I want something else, I call it by its name. You're
Yeah.
like, no, I want a tea. Or, no, I'm going to have chocolate milk. Or, something like that. I don't say, I want, I want a Coke and mean I want a Mountain Dew. Like, that's
Yeah.
not what
No.
it is.
No.
So, but I think we've talked about a few things here today.
Yeah.
A lot about
Nearly everything.
Yeah, a lot about it. Really, we had to cover a lot of bases. We haven't been doing this for a while, so I'm trying to make it a little bit longer than what we normally do. But we've talked about the McRaven House. We've talked about a little bit about religion and demons and all that stuff, and a little bit about suicide and depression, addiction, and sometimes that goes hand in hand with each other.
Yeah, it does.
So that's the thing. But guys, we are working on getting some new material out there. My husband is actually teaming up with one of his friends that used to be on a show called Deep South Paranormal. But they're working on doing their own YouTube series, and when we actually know what their name is actually going to be, because I'm not going to throw around any names right now because that's their business.
They've been indecisive.
Yeah. We will throw out their names and their little YouTube stuff later on, and it's a little mini series that they're going to go on. They're going to start, I think they said they wanted to have at least 12 episodes because they wanted to put one out every week for the first 3 months. So, when that happens, we will definitely let y'all know. I will let you know, and we will put a link and all that stuff. And you never know, we might make some guest appearances on there and stuff, just because I like doing some of the stuff that they do too. And I've mentioned a cemetery that is not where my brother's family, because
No.
you guys got to understand,
Nope.
we're half siblings, which, it doesn't make a difference if we're half siblings or not to me.
Siblings.
Yeah. But my other side of the family has a place, and it's mostly a cemetery that's like it's a very freaking old cemetery. So I've even talked to them about that too, about going there or whatever, because I have a picture. I think Brooklyn maybe was 4 when my uncle died. He was my great uncle, and we went to the cemetery. I think afterward or before. We didn't bury him there. We buried him on a property that my grandmother had, and now my great uncle at, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because back then when my grandpa was born, it was typical for a family to have 8 kids, 9 kids, whatever.
Sounds like my grandmother's family.
So he is actually buried on the property of their home, which actually that house was before, I want to say when they were younger, probably a mile down the street from where so they bought land, took up the house, because I guess it wasn't on a proper foundation then.
Yeah.
Because the house was, really old. It was one of those ones that had one of those wood burning stoves in it.
Oh, wow.
And stuff like that. And they didn't have a bathroom in the house, so you had to use the outhouse. They didn't have hot water, so they would have to warm up a tub thing and make sure that it was going to stay warm.
Very old timey.
Yeah, it was very old time, but it had a lot of farmland with it and stuff like that, which a lot of my other family we won't talk about because they're just not. It's addiction. Addiction's the issue. So, but like, there's a lot of other stuff out there that's it makes me wonder about that house too, because every time I went in there, I felt
Yeah.
yeah. So and I understand like some houses that are very old and the back of them can be very cold and you can go somewhere else and it's warmer, but
Yeah.
this
Temperature change.
always stayed cold no matter what. And it was really weird because my great grandmother used to keep dolls in there. You know,
Ew.
you know
No.
how the older
No.
ladies would have the dolls and they would have like crocheted dresses.
Yes.
Yeah, so she would have stuff like that, and they would be sitting around. It was kind of like her knickknack things, and
Not like dolls.
um,
Do not like dolls.
but those bedrooms were like the bedrooms that were really cold, and I think I slept in one of them one time, and like I would never ever 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 do it again, like never. Now, like I don't know if something's there, but it's just that cold feeling. And
Yeah.
it's like to the bone, and I don't like it. Um, but going back to the cemetery thing that I was telling you about, so I have a picture when my oldest daughter, Brooklyn, was 4. She's 15 now, so that's yeah. I was counting in my head, and I was like 11. So it's been like 11 years since I've actually been to the cemetery. It is mostly like dirt sand. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
That dirt sand kind of old cemetery vibe.
Yeah.
So that is definitely how that looks. And it does have like the gravestones that look like the long, towers
Oh
that
yeah, those are obelisks.
yeah. So I don't know what they're called. I know
Yeah.
you know more about that stuff than I do. They have a lot of those, and like I was telling you earlier, they had I think I remember seeing a cement slab where a headstone was, and then there was the iron little, picket fence around it.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
And I actually think there's one that has a iron cage.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So there's one that has an iron cage that I think starts at the headstone and it goes I don't know if it was a kid or an adult. So it's either one of those sizes. I know. I mean that's the only size it could be.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing that, but the thing is, I don't think that I don't know if it's a church or if it's just a place that they might have a little, I don't know, burial thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Their services for. I don't know if that's what it is, but me and Brooklyn stood outside those front doors, and I have a picture of this like scary guy in a window
that's
of
freaky.
that place. And it's even freakier if it's church.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cause like I don't know if that's a church. I want to say it might be a church, but I'm not 100% sure. So, but I showed Matt that picture that one time because I don't know how I missed it. I found it in the past year or 2 years.
Yeah.
And I kind of like blew the picture up because something was like just told me to blow the picture up. I just start now blowing up pictures to see things, and yeah, that face was pretty freaking scary. So maybe that will be one of the places they investigate. I don't know. It's in Nauvoo, Jasper area. So if any of y'all are from the Alabama area, that's about an hour and a half away from here.
Yeah. That's about right.
Yeah. So if you want to go ahead and wrap this up, because I gotta go bathroom.
Yeah, it's been about an hour and 13-ish minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
So.
All right, guys. So, this was our podcast for today. As I said, y'all need to like hit us up, let us know what y'all want to learn about, whatever, because there are other topics that we might want to talk about later, like mythical creatures or
Yeah.
stuff like that. But, anyways, I'm gonna go because I need to go to the potty, and I'll see you booze later.
Yep. Hopefully it will not be months later, but we'll see you later.
Yeah. So we're signing off, and we'll talk to you later. We love you all. Be safe. Take care of yourself. I'm out. Peace.
Bye.